recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life.
All right, it's Wednesday, 6/24/2020. We got Scott in the studio. If you're new to the channel, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you ring the bell. That way you can get the alerts for this kind of video, live videos we put out, information for all of you. All right, without any further ado, let's get just right into this here with Scott. We got lots of Patriots in the room, a couple hundred.
Good afternoon, folks.
What's going on, brother?
Man, it's good to be, well, it's good to be here, but on the premise why we're here and what we're about to talk about, it's not real good.
Well, no, there's turmoil in the country. Real quick, you met us down at the Legion. What'd you think? You got to test the Wi-Fi with your phone?
Oh, yeah. While we're on that subject, August 15th,
14th,
15th, Michael I will be live the night of the 14th here in Bristol, the Patriot Fest. The 15th actually is the Patriot Fest, so bring your families out. There's camping room. They've got a good setup out there. There's going to be food. Obviously, there'll be drinks. So this is
a little bit dancing, a little bit of music, just good times. No agenda this year. We're just getting together.
Yeah.
We can, we're gonna break bread together. We're gonna eat. We're gonna drink. We're gonna have laughs, maybe some cries, but really just dancing, getting to know each other, and getting to meet we're real patriots. We're gonna meet people that have been here part of the channel. How awesome! I'm stoked.
I am stoked, and I'm curious of size. It's funny, size doesn't really matter. If 10 show up that follow us.
We already figured with you, your family, Nate, his family, me, my family, Ben, Woodman, some of the people Ben are bringing. This one guy, he's musically inclined as well. And then we got JT paid for coming in, so we already have a party.
It's already going to be a good time.
Are you joining us?
Right, right. I'm super
But then the
stoked.
flag retirement. I mean, not a lot of people have seen that. I know you have, Scott, but really proper 21 gun salute. These are flags that have flown in the area and done their time, done their purpose, and they're just past repair. So this is a proper way to get rid of them. If you have never seen that, wow.
Pretty intense.
Touching, yeah.
Pretty cool.
And then the ride, I think it's going on, but if not, Scott's like, I'll head it up, because he will. He's a rider. But other than that, you're going to be involved in that. So any of you out there that are coming, and I know some of you said, I'm bringing my bike, I'm riding, you're going to be in the ride, great. Scott's going to be in it. I'm going to be in it as a tail car or whatever, because I'm in the Jeep. But
yeah, I could use some help with anybody that's got experience with motorcycle American flags and how they mount. I don't have any of that. I ride a Ultra Classic, if that helps anybody, if you can get me some info or whatnot. Sure would like to have one big ass flag flying behind that bad boy if I'm going to be the lead bike. It'd be pretty cool. But anyway, regardless, I'm super stoked to
be part of it.
Just to be there, be a part of it, and hopefully, obviously, we will be meeting fellow patriots. And man, with everything that's going on lately, it'll be refreshing to be around hundreds and hundreds of like-minded people, because it just so many of us probably feel so alone so often, and we're not. It's just, it does get intense. I mean, to the point where you got to shut your crap off the TV. I don't even, I follow it all, but
we'd said years ago, and I said this when I was researching before Trump got in, before I thought there was any chance of hope, of our country. But I was like, I could just turn all this off, and I did for a short while, and it won't affect you. You can get along with your friends, probably better. But I was saying, I was even made this point to Ben. Let's say we would have shut off 2-3 years ago, and been shut off until the world shut down, like it just did. And then it kind of sucks, because at that point you have to figure out what's going on. Like, how do you, all of a sudden, if you're that untuned and tuned out, and then you go to the store and sorry, sir, you can't come in without masks, right? What the hell's going on? Like, you want to know, you'd start looking into it. But it kind of almost got your attention no matter what you're doing in this country. We talk about sports are shut off, jobs are shut down. It really almost, now all of a sudden we're seeing the people that weren't really concerned about the country or the state of it, just maybe their sports and their job and getting their nails done and the newest shoes that week. Yeah. All of a sudden they kind of turn their attention and their voice and their opinions. Not that they're right.
Right.
It's more so than it's man, go back to doing what you're doing, because you're way off. But
right.
But it was the point of it. I don't know. I thought it'd be better. My actual own way I look at some Americans, I was like, man, I'm pretty ashamed of it. Wow. Falling for this narrative. I have to ask you, simply, is it white lives matter? Is it black lives matter? Or would you go with all lives matter? I mean,
I'd like to strangle everybody that puts any kind of color or definition or creed in front of the word American. There's nothing worse or better for dividing a people than to add a race, creed, whatever in front of that noun. That noun, American, is strong on its own. It doesn't have to be added to, adjusted, manipulated. I was trying to explain to my kid, I'm with some of his buddies, he's like, well, we call him Mexican Dan. I'm like, well, son of a gun, that you shouldn't be. Dan, smack my kid for saying something. Well, no, that's my nickname. And I'm like, well, that's crap. I'm trying to teach the kids. That word American is strong and powerful, and to do anything in front of or behind that.
So
is just
Caucasian American, African American, Mexican American.
He goes, well, Dad, we're white, and I'm like, look at my skin. How white am I?
Remember the veteran that we saw out in California? Not that we saw a witness, but the video years ago where he was how dare you, talking to the courts about the legal that just came up. But he was like, you know, I'm not a Mexican American, I'm American.
Yeah,
And
I used to be Mexican. You know, the again, that word don't need any descriptions in front or behind it. Just be proud that
if you want to know of my heritage, I am of. That's what he had brought it up as.
Right.
Like, if you're asking that question, but I'm an American.
I was talking to an Irish guy the other night. You know, he's from Ireland, and he says anybody that calls me Caucasian or white just upsets me because Irish are a little bit different. I guess that's what he was telling me. He goes, "We're Irish. We don't have any color. We're Irish." You know, the Brits are British, the Japs are Japanese. You know, there's no. Would I be called a white Japanese? I don't get it. We're so young of a country. We're so far behind the way the rest of the world really acts and thinks. Maybe not the third world countries, but anyway, color. I got no place for it. Racism is racism. Bigotry is bigotry. I know lots and lots and lots of people who have traveled and met outstanding people, and I know some real nasty people.
And you judge them based off that.
Character.
You know? Yeah, character. That's what we were getting into is what happened in the days of not judging the book by the cover, which is what would be considered what people would do if they're judging you off skin color. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get to know him. He's this color. I know. I already know I don't like him. Right. I don't know too many people like that. I don't hang out with people like that unless they hide it from me very well. I've never met anyone like that. You know, and I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying I don't know too many people like that.
Here's the truth. And we all, logical thinking people, understand that on this planet, 2 to 5, 10, I don't know what number, so I will say majority. The majority of people, and I've said this on the show before pertaining to other politics and views, the majority of people want to wake up, eat breakfast, send their kids off to school safely, go to work, make an income, come home, pay the bills, and enjoy life, and worship the way they want to. The majority of people do those things, and the reason you don't hear us standing up and protesting back and getting out there, and I'll get into this later, because I think we should, because that'll show the cops and the politicians, hey, we got your back, and maybe they need and want us and desire us to do that. But I think the majority of people are good, and the reason that you don't see that is because we're too damn busy working our tails off, minding our own business. But do not think for 1 second that you can just keep doing what you're doing. Sooner or later, you're gonna, like the Japanese said during World War II. Do you really want to wake up that sleeping beast?
Yeah.
I mean, because you're gonna be outmanned by men, real men that can handle their business. You're going to be outgunned. You're not going to have a fighting chance. So be very careful what it is that you think you want from rioting and doing all of this crap. No good's going to come from this. No,
we were talking about if truly the cops disbanded, if truly all of them walked off and we had no more law enforcement. Well, we know we're a country that is very heavily armed. I think there's, I can't remember the number of guns per household, even though people that don't have guns, enough of us that own guns.
I cover your
numbers. I cover you and your extended family.
Right.
So, I mean, we know that that justice situation would be more like Wild West, where I've talked to you about this, I've talked with Ben, I've talked with Woodman, but like in the Wild West, in that era, even in small cities and towns, I mean, some kids were, everyone was trained really proficiently. Almost everyone carried. Everyone.
Actually, no. History says not. A lot of people didn't carry a sidearm. It's in the movies. It's in the westerns.
So
people did police themselves.
Go off that idea then. Just what the movies or what some obscure bullcrap history or movies would tell us, that the idiot wouldn't last long in that situation. The person that liked to go around and steal people's things wouldn't last long. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a regulation of sorts. And I'm not saying it's like, that's the best way. I'm just saying that that's almost what would happen in that. If everyone was, even like 8-9-year-old kids, proficient for hunting, but also in the law and order and that's wrong to do and here's the right things. But what we were talking about is, we see enough that the average person that's a gun owner isn't all trained and investigations, and plus nobody wants to. If you hear somebody prowling around your property and you get your gun and you cock it, it's loaded and your fingers damn near on the trigger, and when you come around the corner, nobody should be in your house, your kids are in bed, and you see somebody, you're just going to shoot most likely.
Yeah.
And as everyone's like, oh, he was just stealing your VCR. You didn't need to kill him. Well, unfortunately, you're not in that situation to be asked, why are you here? I'm not going to hurt you or anyone in the house. I just want some stuff. Okay, go ahead and get it. I'm actually going to point this at you while you get that stuff you're talking about so you don't hurt nobody. No, that's not how it works.
Right.
Swift justice is dealt.
Right.
Do you think the world would be happier with that? You know, they're already mad that people are dying after a struggle when sometimes the actual perpetrator is going after the cop and trying to grab a taser or something.
Gave them a reason. Gave them a reason. These crimes, now listen, I am not for... I don't support hate crime. I don't support dirty cops. I don't support dirty firefighters. I don't support dirty politicians, teachers, neighbors. I don't support dirty people at all.
Crooked.
But they do exist. But to bring it to this boiling point, again, half these rioters probably really don't even know what they're rioting, and the other half couldn't give you facts. They could say, somebody got, that person got killed by a piece of crap cop. Was you there?
Yeah. Or
was you the one he was wrestling and you were scared for your life as you pulled up and you ran his license?
Or flying off the handle, off the Bubba Wallace.
Yeah.
Now the facts are out, right?
Right.
So
Smollett. Oh my God, that guy was beat by 2 Trump supporters. Hysteria wasted all of...
Was that the one that was supposed to get us into the rioting wars?
I think that was, yeah.
It didn't work out, maybe?
So now here's a couple others. But let me, while we're on that fact, let me just bring up some interesting facts. Cops killed 176 people, actually, plus 88. 176 Caucasians died from the use of deadly force by police officers.
So that number I had, right? What was it? 170?
So far this year.
So as of 2 days ago in 2020, which is Monday.
Yeah.
Give that number again.
176 white males. That was the descriptions in the police reports that were killed by deadly force used by police officers
Around the country.
Around the country.
And then the number was 88 or 188.
88.
88.
88.
So
check your privilege at the door. Check your facts. Check your reason for destroying. I just said this down in the garage with you and your wife. You're destroying communities of innocent people. You're killing little kids. Little kids are getting caught in the crossfire. You saying that little kid's life didn't matter? At what point does your justification cease to exist? Or at what level have you gone far enough? Killing little kids and killing innocent people, burning down and I don't like to say this, but a black woman's business. She stood out there and gave BLM a bunch of garbage. Saying, don't tell me Black Lives Matter. I'm a black woman, 70-some years old. You just destroyed my business. So don't
my
tell
livelihood.
Me, you just killed that little 4-year-old girl down the street. Don't tell me that Black Lives Matter. And then you look in the crowd as she's saying this, and 3/4 of the people are what you would call white young Americans. And they're going along with this because they love the idea of free stuff. It's an agenda. They're peaceful protesting.
So what would you say out of the 178 or 170 or 270? What was it? 177?
177 and 88. So
maybe, and out of the 88, I'd have to say out of the 88 black people killed so far this year, there's probably some ones that are very justified. I'm not saying like justified. I hate to say it that quick, but I'm just saying if you look in, was it something they pulled the gun but they didn't get theirs out quick enough, and then the officer shot, and then that guy ended up dying? It's like, okay, that we got to move that to justified. Same with the white ones. We could probably go through and get all the justified, literal black and white, funny to use that word, but, ones that we can say, oh, these are all good, these are good. I'm not saying that they don't see an issue, or if you only look at it one-sided, of course you're going to see, or if the news only showed us every time.
If you're driven by hate,
yes,
all you're going to see is hate.
Yes.
If you're driven by logic, you can make sense of what's going on.
Numbers don't lie.
Let the courts take care of it. And I mentioned this, and if this doesn't make sense, then turn your device off and quit watching and just put your head in the damn sand. if you think for 1 second that that cop should ultimately die right now, long before his day in court, then understand that the next time a thug of any color or creed kills a kid or kills his neighbor, kills his own enemy, maybe it's a drug war, maybe it's just two hicks from the stick shooting rifles at each other. We're gonna do that too. We're just gonna pass the court of appeal up, and
due process is gone.
You're guilty. I caught you.
Who needs due
the media
process?
said you're guilty. You don't want facts. You just said, well, there it is on camera. Well, they only show you. You look at all these events. They show you what they want to show you. They don't show you the entire situation, and then you're not smart enough to put yourself in that person's shoes. Both. I don't call them the victim, the one that's being arrested, whether it's white or black, and the officer, whether they're white, black, woman, green, purple, whatever. Could put yourself in their shoes, wrestling while somebody's grabbing for your gun or taser. How do you even know it's your taser at that point? You're so emotionally wrapped up in defending yourself. You know, that one guy was fighting off two cops. And then
The
he
one at
grabbed
Wendy's.
the taser.
The one at Wendy's.
Yeah, we now know it was a taser.
Yeah.
Does the one cop that shot him as the guy running away, oh, he's shot in the back. Well, he's running away, pointing, and you see a spark. And everybody's like, well,
Oh, yeah.
the taser didn't work anymore. Some tasers are actually made for multiple shots.
That's right.
But how did that cop know that that wasn't his partner's gun? Because all three of them were just rolling around, and it happened.
You got to
so
remember,
fast.
it's chaotic, right?
Yeah. And all he had to do really was just go to jail and pay $1,500 fine and get a DUI, and he'd still be alive. But oh no, it's the cop's fault. Well, there's a lot of things that happened leading up to that point. Character was the biggest one.
Well, he had like 103 priors.
Why does that matter?
What does that matter? Well, that's something that comes up when the cops pull up and even get numbers going or get a name out of them, and they're going to see that right away and be, well. Secondly, so that was a good point. On that whole story, by the way, I just did a really great article. So his girlfriend ended up getting, in my story, I didn't even mention she was a girlfriend just because it was an extra added kicker. I was waiting for people to comment it, but I gave every bit of other. Here's the funny thing. She ordered a shirt on that Etsy or Etsy online. You've seen it on Facebook. Etsy. She ordered a shirt on there and made it very specific. She got keep the illegal immigrants, deport the racist. Mm-hmm. That's very unique.
Then she cocktailed police car.
Yep. She burnt 2 police cars and the Wendy's. And they had this lady with that same shirt on and tattoos, but they didn't know who the lady was. They just saw the shirt. Well, with some FBI investigative work in like 2 days, they found that there was an order placed with that Etsy. That after she got the shirt, she came back and commented. And on Etsy, when you comment, it tells you like the area you're from. For some reason, the algorithm, if you allow it, like allow this to track you, you know,
sure.
And you're always like, yes. Well, it put like Georgia. So it came back with her city or whatever she was from. So then the FBI launched that, did a LinkedIn off that username for the account for Etsy, and it came back to a LinkedIn. And it came back to the lady worked at the tattoo. So then they clicked on the tattoo. They watched some videos. They saw the lady. They saw these tattoos, and they were able to match them to the 500 photographs they had from all the rioting and stuff from regular journalists. 80 years she's facing.
Good.
For burning 2 police cars and a Wendy's. And I believe it was his girlfriend. But the dude was sleeping in the drive-thru, so the cops get called. He had gotten let out through this COVID thing because of the scam of that going on. Oh, we got let out 9, whatever. So he was out on that, and it was, I think he had lots of DUIs previous, but
he pointed a gun at a pregnant cashier, robbed her.
The minute you get, that was one of the crimes that he...
Point a gun at my pregnant wife. Point a gun at my wife.
That was one of them he did before, not like this night, but prior. Gotcha.
Yeah. So the analogy I used with my children, if you're stupid enough to go over there and kick that hornet's nest and you get stung, don't you come whining to me. You kind of got what you deserve. That's called stupidity. When
like
a
the
cop
people
pulls
tearing...
me over, I tend to sit still and put my hands out. You know, and there's probably times I could have gotten in trouble if I did get pulled over or I did get caught doing whatever growing up.
We made bad choices.
Right.
I know you made a little bit more than the rest.
But that's on me. And if I chose to run, then that's also on me.
That's right.
If they set the canine on me because
you don't pull down a statue that you hate, and when it comes toppling down, it hits you on the head and makes you maybe a little retarded for the rest of your life and try to sue the city for falling objects.
Right. Right. That's where we're at with
I didn't
some
mean
of
to
this.
use that word. Special. I didn't mean. whatever. But
If you're the word offended, it doesn't cost you anything.
remember that it's not, but now it does. See, being offended, we're like, we don't make new laws off of it. They are.
Yeah. If you're offended, turn your neighbor in for every offense. Are you kidding me? They're letting people out of jail and letting people off that have been murderers and rapists, and 4 years for molesting a child. But now we're considering being offended.
Mm-hmm.
I'm offended with that.
A 22-year-old, I believe, black girl or black man. Not, it only matters for this context, but they wrote into Webster's just like 2 days ago. I did an article, or read the article, and they said that they didn't agree with the term in their Webster dictionary of racism. It didn't suit their needs. So Webster wrote back immediately, said, "We are so sorry. We have overlooked this," and they agreed. They are now changing the word to work with this 22, 23-year-old that doesn't view that the word captures enough. If you look up the definition of
And by the
racism.
way, Suzette was right. He wasn't sleeping. He passed out drunk.
That's what I was saying.
And if I pass out drunk in your yard and you don't want me there, it's your right to call the law. And when the law shows
Well,
up...
if you're at a drive-thru and you can't get your order, the people behind are probably calling Wendy's. We got a guy in front, he won't move. It looks like the lines, should we go around? But he's right at the spot where you order. So they come out and investigate.
It's a false flag. It's a narrative because Mollet situation didn't work. So now here's one that we can magnify. And while we're talking about it, can we just get the F off the COVID thing? That man, and I don't care. I'm not his judge, jury, and executioner. And if he's dead already, so somebody already judged him. What I don't understand is they gave him a national funeral. During the COVID
when other
epidemic,
people couldn't have one.
Not that I missed
Lots of
it
people are upset, though, that their own family they couldn't get to.
Number one, you couldn't go to church. Number two, and sit with 40 people, but they can grandstand this guy around, and then, soldiers are dying, cops are being killed, white people are dying, Mexican people are dying, Japanese people are... What are we doing? And so then you see Pelosi, and, oh my God... If you Californians don't vote her out, just annex and get the hell out of my country. They take a knee and they wear the African
scarf. The Pelosi's
and they don't even realize that the scarf that they're wearing, if you look back in that country's history, were slave traders.
Yeah. Well, where does this stop? We talked about hate speech. It's like, I'm for free speech, Scott, but not hate speech. And it's like, well, who determines that? Some liberal judge that you don't like?
Which brings up an awesome question to you and to the audience and to just all of society. Who makes the decisions? Why are we not putting votes out there? Put it on the damn ballot. Hey, do you want the Ten Commandments taken off the courthouse? Because if they put it on the ballot, it would still be on the courthouse. Because 98% of the people probably either they're all in that one group that will say, nope, we don't want it taken down, or they just don't care. But you're not going to get 10 million people in this country to say, tear down that Lincoln Memorial. You're not going to get 10 million. So how's come, Dad always said the squeaky wheel always gets the grease. Isn't it amazing who they put in front of cameras and microphones?
Yeah.
They sure as hell like interviewing people like me. They're interviewing the ones that are, I'm sorry, I'm not saying I'm smarter than everybody, that are stupid, that have an agenda to...
Well, they said CNN calls like 100 people when they have these crises and get the one that's like, I didn't get my money from the government. So they're like, okay, yeah, we'll call you at 2 o'clock. We're going to have you on.
Right.
The one that's like...
Crises actors. Mm-hmm. They're prepped. They have nothing useful other than ranting, bitching, and complaining. They do nothing constructive. You look at these protesters, you see $200 pairs of shoes, $300 pair of Boosts headphones, $85 jerseys, $200 pairs of jeans, gold chains or whatever. And you want to talk about my privilege? It must be nice not to have to work and still dress better than me. And have, you know what I mean? You want to call that privilege, you call that privilege. I suppose I am privileged to go work and support myself. I find it very interesting that you're so oppressed. And I don't care what community you are, and we can get on that fact too. Just by sheer numbers, there's more Caucasian people, if that's what you want to call them, in this country than any other race. So by that sheer number, there are more Caucasian people on welfare and food stamps and handouts. So I'm talking to you too, American. I'm talking to all Americans. Don't give me that privilege crap.
That's right.
I'm working for you to have that free crap. If you live in free housing and have free food stamps, how in the F-bomb do you have $300 pair of Boosts? Mike and I have to buy ours. You know what I mean? These $45 pair of New Balance, they're not $300 kicks, you know?
Have you seen this one?
But I'm sorry, I'm
Donald Trump wants
privileged,
a
I
wall
suppose.
around
40 seconds.
When
Listen
Donald
to
Trump
this.
wants a wall around our southern border, it's considered racist. But domestic terrorists who take over a 6x6 block in Washington is considered patriotic. Joe Biden is allowed to blackmail the president of Ukraine, but when Donald Trump asks about it, that's an impeachable offense. A $5 billion border wall is apparently too expensive, but a $1.5 trillion free healthcare system is apparently achievable. People who never owned slaves have to pay reparations to people who never were slaves. I'm not allowed to cheat to get into college because I'll go to jail, but if I cheat to get into this country, I get free everything. People who never went to college have to pay for kids who made stupid choices and decided to go to college. We're catching and releasing criminals because apparently it's an infringement on their right. I'm not allowed to purchase a firearm, but you're totally allowed to go purchase drugs, alcohol, and get an abortion. Irish and German scientists and engineers have to go through a very serious vetting process before being admitted into the United States, but immigrants from our southern border get to come in whenever they want. When Donald Trump wants to...
She's pretty good. She named off a lot of issues.
You guys know
there.
that emoji that goes... That young lady, I'm going to put her in... Well, it probably offends somebody. What do you mean she's 17 to 20, maybe?
Maybe if. It might be 15. I mean, geesh.
Can she go take Pelosi's seat?
Could
I
she?
bet we get a lot more crap done.
World will be a better place.
What's next on the hit list?
That video's awesome, somebody said.
What's the word? Desecrating statues and whatnot. Number one on my list is hateful music. I'm offended by nasty, crazy, kill you, raped your mom.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. I'm offended. Why are we not taking that down? But you're gonna go desecrate the 84th Regiment of Massachusetts Memorial. Now, I'll stop there and give everybody 14 minutes to go explore this on Google, or you can trust me and you can look it up afterwards. What is the 84th Mass, if you ever seen the movie Glory? First Black Regiment. There's a memorial in Boston, Massachusetts that now has BLM spray painted on it, graffitied, just destroyed. Black Lives Matter destroyed the 84th of Mass Memorial in Boston. Let that sink in.
Jeez.
The first African American militarized regiment in this country, memorial, destroyed by Black Lives Matter. And in that group, they say 75% of them were white kids. You want to go down? You want General Lee's statue taken down? You might want to do some research. Racism, slavery was a part of life back then, wasn't it, right? No, but they were talking about separation of state versus federal government is what the Civil War started over. Only did Abe Lincoln make it about slavery so he could frickin' win and made it a moral situation because the states were fighting. They did not like the federal government's reach.
Yeah.
So they left, and they had the right to try to do that. They lost a damn war.
Yeah, but they didn't have the right to collude with foreign actors like they did.
Right.
And that's why some of them hung.
Right.
A lot of them got away with it, similar to what's
That's
going
called
on
treason.
today. That's what I'm saying. So, and I don't know, because we weren't alive back then, but everything I read on with Lincoln and that time frame, it led me to believe that even after everything, Lincoln won, and you had states pissed off that he won, and we're kind of similar to what we've seen with Trump once he's won. We're going to leave the unions. California threatened it.
Please.
And then now we have mayors all around these cities defying our president openly. So it's very similar to what Lincoln
Trying to
went
get
through.
him to make a mistake.
Yeah. They don't like what he's doing. And I take it back then that however it works, that on paper, they were freeing, he was going to free the blacks. Well, this possible time, it's Trump here to free all of us. Because I believe that paperwork-wise, the blacks got freed, but then after they killed Lincoln, with that insurrection thing, then they wrote their own, DC wrote their own constitution, and 10 years went by before they actually let go of that Insurrection Act.
Correct.
Secretly.
Correct.
And when they did lift it, it put our constitution on the dustbin, and theirs came out over ours. And they made us all slaves by the tax system.
Well, yeah. Do you know why they
You're going to free this group of people, we'll slave all of you.
you know why they gave them all citizenship? Everybody. That act gave everybody at that time.
What amendment was that? The 25th?
Oh, God.
But anyway, yeah,
Sorry,
go on.
I'm not.
Me neither. I don't know.
prepared to answer that question. But by saying everybody in this country is now a citizen, you're now taxable.
That's right.
You're a commodity.
Remember in the 50s, fast forward, how do we get the women to get out and work? You know, they reached a point where it's like, okay, the black man's free, they're out there, we got the white man, but now we got this culture that likes to make the women stay at home, the men go out and work. Let's break them up. Let's just divorce them.
Sexism. Use sexism. Come on, you women, why you letting your
That's
man
when they brought up the
oppress you or oh my God, the family.
Hanoi
Jane.
Yeah.
I wish one of you listeners that are that age group could go back and just sacrifice your life and put a bullet in that broad's head. Do us all a favor. And maybe 40 years from now, somebody's going to say that about some of the leaders we have. But it's all part of it's a cog in the wheel, man. And they continue to do it. They divide and conquer. You know, you hear it all the time for 50 years. Morgan Freeman, Candace Owens, and Herschel Walker. I mean, these are prominent black people in the community.
They were great the whole time.
Yeah, awesome. Trump got awards from Rosa Parks' family and MLK's family, and used to sit next to Don King and Reverend Jackson and Al Sharpton, which
all of them.
He was loved. Oprah brought him on the show. Now he's a
All
racist
the most
son
prominent,
of a bitch. Yeah.
outspoken black men in society
Dated black
on
women.
TV.
Yeah, everybody, rappers made songs that want to be like Trump.
He's
or whatever.
just undercover.
Yeah.
And it's like they said, he's done some things with letting people out this 3 years that he's been in that were wrongfully locked up possibly or whatever, or made mistakes.
The prison retroactive.
He's done some things, and it's like, again, it's like a racist wouldn't do that. And it's like, you don't live your whole life doing great things for all people, let alone people of different backgrounds and whatnot and ethnicities, but he's doing it all, and it's just they have to keep caught up on the fight. It's like, well, see, he's secretly doing great things for the black man, and he does it for 50 years, but yeah, he dies a racist still. It's like, well, geez, that's not your typical racist.
Ultimately, the biggest problem that we have is we have a bunch of uneducated, lazy, got better things. They don't have anything to occupy in their time, so they're easily distracted, easily led, like a bad preacher in a church. You know, people, yeah, I'll follow you. I don't know why I'm going to follow you because I got nothing else to do. You got, maybe they're decent people, but you're being led by powerful people, brainwashing you,
That have spent lots of money to figure out how to brainwash you really good,
keeping you down, making you depend on them, a la food stamps, a la the state, welfare, Section 8, all this garbage. You've grown to depend on that Democratic Party, and oh man, if you take that away,
I'm not gonna have nothing.
well, listen, you know it's fact. For 50 plus years, liberal cities have been promising every election they're going to take care of the poor, and they're still poor.
So what do you think about Trump, that video I showed you where he says, it had to be this way, we had to let it simmer, show the democratic evil? Some people are like, all right, we've seen enough, do it now, because to beg Trump to help would be to send a National Guard to these cities.
Right.
And I used to talk about that 3 years ago. This is what's going to happen, folks. They're going to send them in. It's not for you. And people are like, no, that's scary. Come in and take my gun. Go door to door. But it's not. It's like what Lincoln did. They did the same thing, and they rounded up treasonous people in the states. I think today it's people tagged in with China. I think like our toll road here has been sold out. It's like, it's not sold, you're wrong. I was like, okay, my bad, leased for 89 years. That's my damn life.
Yeah.
And at the end of that lease, I'm sure they're going to renew it or something. So you can play that lease game for 1,000 years and be like, we never sold it. But yet it wasn't in our control for 1,000 years. Come on. That's bad. And that's what Mike Pompeo said right before this COVID. He goes, hey, I should show that speech, man. But he's standing up there at the ball, so Mike Pompeo, the head of the State Department, That's the government's position. It's like the 51st state or something, right? It's like the head of all the states. He makes sure all the deals are kosher. He's like, before I came here to be head of the State Department, I had the privilege of being over the head of the CIA. Trump sent him there. And for 2 years, I think he got stuff from the CIA. And he's like, so anyway, last year I got a paper sent to the State Department inviting me to this ball from the Chinese, and he named it off Chinese da. He goes, which is really, I know from being over the CIA, a front company for the Chinese Communist Party. And they sent this out to all states inviting you. And I'm just wondering how many of you knew what they really were. And how many of you made deals and sold out and got deals that fattened your pocket, but not your state? And he goes, we got a list. We know it all. Right. So it sounded great. Like, oh my God, they're going to move in on some of these states. And that's where people are like, no, my state has more sovereignty than the federal, but not if they're selling your ass out and you don't know it. That's what's going on. A lot of people are defending things that they just don't understand. That's what I've noticed.
Well, to answer your question, my opinion is he had to let it play out for two reasons. Number one, nobody on the left or the media would believe it if it came from Trump's mouth. Oh, these people are evil and they're,
Day one, arrest Hillary.
They still don't believe Epstein and Hillary and Obama and Bill Gates were all friends, and why are you friends with a pedophile, and why were you on his plane multiple times, and why'd you go to his island? It was because you were screwing kids.
We listened to each one of them explain a way that they didn't know what he was doing. That's what we had to listen to.
Why are we not going to these people's homes as civilian patriots, as militia, and taking them,
tearing down their houses instead of statues of 200-year-old people?
They've asked the police to stand down. I guarantee 90 I'm using numbers now because now I'm going to rant. I guarantee a majority of the police force and the military would get the F out of my way if I bring 1,000 of my buddies to these people's homes that have been running this country, screwing little kids, taking more money from us, just, dividing our families.
Dividing the country.
Acting like villains, doing evil, nasty things. They'll get out of our way if enough of us stand up, you see, but everybody deep down inside is afraid to stand up because, oh man, I might go to jail.
I might get killed.
Which brings me to another good point that my buddy Don, if you're listening, this is the point that you help my brain understand. Let's talk about how this can be stopped peacefully. I got a brilliant idea brought to me, and I might beat it up a little bit, Don, so I'm sorry. But how about all those that pay taxes? And I don't mean payroll tax because that comes out automatically. I'm talking small business people. Majority of the taxes in this country are from small business because the majority of the big businesses get a bunch of handshakes and pats on the butt from their asshole friends in D.C., and that's fact. Republican, Democrat, I don't care who you are. Small business runs this country tax-wise. So how about we all come into an agreement that we'll hold on to our taxes that we owe you to the small, to the local government, right? Maybe even to the federal. But my problem isn't with Trump or his administration. My problem is with liberal cities, liberal mayors, liberal councils, liberal. Hold the monies back and make sure that you televise this and advertise it as such. I have your money sitting right over here, and I will pay you when we are heard and when this shit stops. Because what you're doing is allowing this to go on. Every mayor, and that lady in Seattle should be brought up on so many different charges for allowing this to happen. That poor girl got raped and murdered in a safe place, right? A city of love, a summer of love.
Summer of love.
Really. Murdering, raping, looting, burning, destroying people's property.
And we're all for rallies or protesting. I was part of a union, so if I needed to strike and if I believed in the cause to strike, I would be there. If I didn't, I wouldn't. The rally in Virginia, we all got to go to together. I believed in that. That was for everybody. It was us standing up for Second Amendment for all fellow American. Now, we went and did it peacefully. What would have been the bad way to go down to Richmond? There was people that wanted to take your gun.
Guns, we were shocked that there wasn't. I mean, we really thought that was didn't we? We thought that was a fulcrum point where somebody was going to light a firecracker.
Even if it was some rogue agent or bad actor there to cause that, I'm willing to die to help you guys.
Actors.
Yeah.
Look what all these crazy white dudes. Well, first of all, there were a lot of races down there packing heat and supporting the Second Amendment, and you should, because a people without a gun just allows a government to become tyrannous more than what it already is now. So the point is, defund them.
Yeah.
You take my cops away and make me have to defend myself. That's treason, because you don't have no. Your job is to protect me.
Yep.
Your oath is
serve and protect.
That's correct. You want to take the guns away from the cops and keep them from being able to do their job. Now you're asking me to be a vigilante. I bet they throw me in jail when I shoot a son of a bitch that comes down my driveway. I don't want to, but I will. I certainly will open up fire on anybody that I think is going to do me or my family or friends harm. I will drive clear over here to Elkhart to do the same in your defense.
Thank you.
And most of these cops and most of the military will get the hell out of our way because they know it needs to happen. They know that the good people need to stand up because then it's easier to deal with. Yes. It isn't just Trump going, oh, I'm going to be a tyrant. Although I don't think he would be, but the left will spin it that way. Look what he's doing. So he let her make her own bed. Yeah. And now my buddy that's a police officer informs me last night, those officers in Seattle need to make sure she's videotaped or recorded or something when she says, because now she wants them to go back in there and clean it up. Clean my mess up that I allowed and created, right? If they don't get some kind of protection, when something happens and people start dying and police officers are killing people, she's going to say, see? She's going to use them as scapegoats. And coming from a police officer, I thought that was pretty smart. He's willing to go in there. He even said, he's a South Bend cop. I'm willing to do the dirty work because then, and he used words that were making mayors and city councilmen and women sound weak and pathetic, like most of them are. They love the power of telling the police chief and the police officers what to do, but they don't like the insults and the critics, right? So he's willing to even know going into that he's going to catch crap from his mayor and the news is going to, right? He's willing to do it because the people need him, right? But what he's saying is make sure you put it on paper and sign it and with witnesses and on film or just whatever. Go out there to News Center 16 or your local, have them come to the courthouse and you say, I'm sending the police in. So all of America hears you say it. Because if you don't force her to do that and you go in there, you will be an scapegoat and the situation will get worse. Hold people accountable from top to bottom.
Well, and aren't you seeing a lot of these mayors that were allowing their cities to burn and get, like, they wanted that,
Hang them.
until their houses got touched.
Hang them.
Did you see any of them flipping once they're...
The mayor of New York's house.
We need to stop this now. It's out of hand. Once their houses got touched, like one of them, I was reading an article, like they were all for it. The minute their place got touched, they're like, "Wait, this isn't how it's supposed. I'm with you guys." And it's like they don't care. They're animals.
What's Maladell Drive? What's the big fancy street there where all the ritzies? Melrose Drive. Whatever.
Beverly Hills,
Rodeo Drive. What if protesters got that far? You suppose all those hypocrites with money would say, "Oh." Just,
now they're coming to our area.
Boy, that shit just changed. It's really funny how much people care. It goes back to the border thing. People in New York City, open borders. Well, shit, man, they got to get through 15 or 20 states before, Of course you don't care. You don't care about the rancher that lives right on the border and there's drugs and there's murdering going on his land. He doesn't have the right to defend his land. It's the same darn thing. All these liberals, it's fun to talk about, oh, Seattle, look at them, peace, love, and happiness. Why don't they try this garbage and rule America? Anybody got an answer to that?
No.
Because we won't allow it. I guarantee that kind of rally protest would not happen in my hometown.
No.
And if it started, it would end very quickly. Because it should end quickly. People with balls should be in charge, not hypocrites, not the do-gooders and, the Monday morning quarterbacks. They want, what's the old joke when the boss is in a good mood? Hey, we did a good job today. And then when he's in a bad mood, you sons of screwed up. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I can rant about this stuff it's happening in your liberal America, and it's obvious. It's very obvious, and it's all orchestrated. It's all planned out.
It seems that way for sure.
That mayor's a coward. You let a bunch of hippies with dildos and bombs in their hands take your city?
Well, and this is like you said, they thought since they were there championing the rioters that they were safe. but it knows nothing. They're not even paying attention to you. They're just like knowing, like, they're not arresting nobody. And then it's like, if you pulled up, put it this way, I'd said, sit back in these riding cities. It would be funny to sit back in your car, me and you pull up, you have a trunk full of, stickers of Trump stickers, and go place them on the riders' cars and watch other riders tear their cars apart. Because they wouldn't care. They just see the Trump sticker and they're going to quickly jump, like, and that person come on, this is my car. I'm with you guys. Somebody put this on my car. Now, watch out. We're burning it.
Dance puppet. She let it go on, and then they start rioting, calling for her to resign.
Yeah.
She said,
what? I was with you.
Now I have to make sure we cater to them because they want my agenda. And then, the agenda changed a little bit. How embarrassing. And you know what? That family of the girl, and I think there was 2 murders. When you see the police coming because somebody was shot and you're trying to stop them from coming in and the ambulance, you should go to jail immediately. They should have baton whipped them, tasered them, dog chewed on them, whatever it took. Drag their ass out of there, throw them in jail, and say, this is what happens when you try to stop a human being from breathing. And build barricades. You're the same group of people that said can't build walls. Well, get walls now. Now they got their own police force. A few of them are walking around being seen with AR-type guns. Those are the same guns.
And we couldn't have America only, like, just our country. That's racist. But now there's, like, autonomous black zones only. And it's like, wait a minute. How does that work? I mean...
So you want to bring back racism?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I've been arguing with everybody.
You want to segregate all over?
I don't agree it was right then, so we don't want to flip it. When something's wrong, you correct it.
Correct.
That's it. That's all you...
My pea-brain says we need to be segregated again.
We need to reverse it, and you need to fill it for a while.
Right.
And then only then will a group of people come out pissed off again, and they're going to want to do it back to you. So...
It's crap. Again, every good-hearted American is logical enough. They know this has nothing to do with race. They're feeding on the emotions of people. The impeachment didn't work.
No, yeah. They lost impeachment, Ukraine phone call, which led to impeachment.
Grab by the didn't work,
Taxes, we want them.
Now we have COVID.
He's racist.
Shut the economy down.
Xenophobe.
And what's her name? Cortez. She got caught saying, "Well, we got to keep small business down and
just a little longer, so we get them out of there."
Right.
That's your agenda.
Trump can't win. If the economy tanks, he can't win, and we should sacrifice a few business owners in the name of Trump not being reelected.
It'll be all right.
Her constituents should have went to her house right away, her nice pet house where she's living high on the hog, ripped her out of there, and held her in their own little military tribunal.
That's right.
If you're not doing what you gave your oath to do, you're not doing me any good.
Ooh.
Gotta go.
Trump said that too. He's going to arrest anyone. And everyone's like, what? I was like, well, that's a law. You can't break down monument. There's the other thing. They're going to be tearing down Lincoln's Emancipation one, I think Thursday at 7. I sat there and watched the video.
Who is?
It was the head of the Black Lives Matter, or one of the very outspoken advocates or whatever.
At D.C.?
Yeah, they were there, and he was going, we're not going to do it today. We're not going to do it tomorrow. I'm thinking Thursday, 7 p.m. It gave him 3 days, and they're talking about that he was yelling out on the mic, send money for people that are willing to send money so they can get supplies and everything they need. And it's supposed to. So I'm going to be going live, hopefully trying to catch some idiot that's got the feed from there in the audience.
Oh, there's undercover cops.
Well, we'll get that feed, and we're going to see if they actually, because as far as I know in D.C., the police are there.
What's going to happen when they provoke a mob of good people, right? Because these are mobs, right? And like you said, there's no rhyme or reason. It's kind of like it flows its own way and it changes its mind.
They just needed to kickstart it, and
today,
it started.
When they first started, we're peaceful protesters. And you hear idiots supporting them from 1,000 miles away because you're not there watching that city burn.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just protesting. Good for them. They want change. Well, we all want change.
Yeah.
I want you all to change. But what happens?
I got hope, too.
Is this year, July 4th, the beginning, or is it going to be the day that a second revolution starts? Now, I'm a family man. I don't want this to happen because I don't want to have to protect my children at that level. However...
What if your son was joining Chaz? What's Chaz? You know what that Chaz is?
My son?
I was joking.
Well, he'd be cut off.
I agree. We should take back Chaz.
My son's life wouldn't matter.
The Chaz is the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone.
Autonomous
That's what it is.
Zone,
Yeah, Chaz. He joined
I'm offended.
Chaz.
I'm offended. If my name is Chaz, and I know a few guys named Chaz, I play softball with one of them. If I were him, I would sue that group.
I'm offended.
I'm offended. You're giving my name a real bad rap right now.
Make a couple laws, charge some taxes off of it, and move on. All right, sound off. Where are you guys from? We are at the hour mark. I'll let Scott have the last word once we come back. But let us know we have 500 in the room, darn near. So
darn near.
Up there. We're gonna see them. See if you can't keep up with them, Scott. And sound them up. You guys go ahead.
Come on. Give me your.
I think we're 10 seconds behind. See, it's chopped now. They're just getting my last joke.
Oh.
Please hit the like for Michael and Scott. Thank you, Lori. It's chopped now.
Sweet home Alabama.
Alabama disowned, Silverwolf says.
North Carolina.
North Cac.
Nevada.
Hudson. Henderson.
Henderson, Nevada. Spain.
LaPorte.
Oh, man. LaPorte, Indiana. Trish, right down the road.
Right awesome. Up the road.
You're literally probably 5 minutes from my home.
You can come to the Patriot Fest. Ohio in the house. RTR.
Alaska.
Hawaii. Right
last
above it.
Of the frontier.
Fairbanks.
Oklahoma. Scotland.
Illinois, Springfield.
Gee whiz.
Florida. Michigan. BC. British Columbia. DeWitt, Michigan. Vegas.
Pullman, Washington. Jason, sorry, bro. I hope you're not anywhere near that crazy mayor.
Hull, Norway. Washington State.
It sucks, too. Northwest is beautiful country.
High Valley, Colorado.
Texas, U.S., Florida, Jacksonville, Cleveland, another North Carolina.
Cleveland rocks.
Norway.
Damn.
Jeez. Ragnar. Missouri.
Upstate, New York.
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Upstate New York. Upstate New York is actually very, very red. Very, very red.
Arkansas. Clintons are my neighbors.
Montana. Steve Bronson. I'll be up your way sometime in the next month or two. Got a big.
He's gonna need a room and board if you got it.
I will be in the Bozeman area. Hour outside of Derby, England. All right. Unfortunately, Washington. I didn't know there was a city called Unfortunately Washington.
Odessa, Texas.
Yeah.
Texas.
Odessa.
Texas. A lot of taxes up there.
UK.
Welcome down under. Dothan, Alabama. Dothan. Oprah's underground sex dungeon. Jeez.
Hey, I'm offended by her statue.
Yeah, it's about 135 pounds too light.
Yeah, no shit.
Joking.
Lake Oswego, Oregon, around Salem, Eugene area, perhaps.
Argentina. Q
No
space.
way. Average Joe's from Argentina.
Littleton, Iowa.
I wonder how that's going down there.
Q Moon. When nobody Soyville Antifa stand. Jeez, you guys. Buffalo, New York. Great show, you guys. Thank you. Recon, or former Steve Kibbe. Thank you. Bronx, New York City.
Monterrey, Mexico.
Santa Fe, New Mexico. Monterrey, Mexico. Digital currency, crypto, Q-Town. Where's Q-Town? Just made mask mandatory. Ooh, right there. Look at that one. Just made mask mandatory.
Who did?
Right here.
In Wilson County, Tennessee?
Yep.
Yeah.
Move. No Clintons in upstate New York. Lemon haze for the woodman. Laughing my ass off.
Spiceland, Indiana. I'll be damned.
Yes. Soros, Obama, Clinton ship will be held. Yes, I do. Freedomville.
Neville keeps saying lemon haze for a woodman. I think he really wants us to know he's for woodman.
Yes.
Lemon haze.
Thank you, Josh. Or Just Neville. Jost. Hit that like. Q. Patriots in upstate Washington, D.C. and Cape Canaveral, Las Vegas. Put one in the old slot machine for me.
Yeah. Red 18, baby. Red 18. Let it ride.
Let it ride.
Just let me know, but I'll owe you the $100.
So they really want a civil war?
No, they don't. They think they do. They say they do. It's real easy to do that.
After a couple shots fired, they'd be running.
Like, oh,
they don't even know how to.
It's like somebody said, well, if I was that guy, I would have been a hero, and I would have. Would you?
These are the same people that tried to run out and get a gun during the crisis.
You're right. Think about this, folks. These are people that think they can stop a semi-tractor trailer by putting their hand out. That's the logic that we have at work here. Look, that run out in the streets in front of semis. Some of them get hit, and then some of them complain. Do you really want those types of people in charge?
Just pick that one. Right?
Just
What do you got?
I got Nancy Pelosi,
I'm gonna see if I can trump you.
Speaker of the House. Since taking over the House, it has been their main goal to impeach the president.
I got Andrew McCabe, Deputy Director, FBI from 16 to 18, part of the deep state against Trump, admitted on CBS 60 Minutes to participating in an FBI DOJ coup plot to overthrow Trump. He admitted it right on 60 Minutes. Of course, these people are going to be held accountable. And if not, I don't know.
I gotta sign off. I'm hot. I need a break.
We're out of here, folks. Scott, you got any?
Yeah, real
Give
quick.
him something here. I'll get
90
you.
seconds at the most. 90 seconds. Bear with me. Bear with me. Understand what's going on, what the Democratic Party's been doing for the last 10, 20, 30 years is normalizing Marxism. If you think I'm kidding, just take a look at what's going on. It's not real difficult to see. But I want to leave you with this. There's nowhere in the Constitution that says that you have the right to burn, destroy communities, murder, desecrate. There's nowhere in the Constitution that says that you have the right to do that. You are free to speak. You have certain alienable rights. You have the right to bear arms. You have the right to defend yourself. So let me remind you that last part that I just said. We all have the right to defend ourselves and our property. That goes directly back to what I just told you. You don't have the right to do. You do not have the right to murder somebody. You do not have the right to burn somebody's house down. You do not have the right to take their possessions without their permission. There's a lot of things that you have rights. You do not have any of those rights. And my Second Amendment right will come into play. And yours should too, and everybody else's should too. I'm not saying start a war, but if the war is what they want, which I know they say they do not want it. Don't get tricked into this war, but be prepared for this war, and don't be afraid to stand up with your police, with your good politicians, with your neighbors. Stick with the like-minded people. Understand that we're going to get through this. It could be real painful, or it could be devastatingly painful. But just understand that you have rights, and it's okay to stand up, 1,000 of you, and go out in the street and stand with your police. That would go a long way. I'm considering activating a group like that in our area. I'm going to talk it over with my wife and make sure she's okay with it, because you just never know where that sort of thing goes. But I really want to be able to do that in our area. Maybe you should start that in your area. We need to stand behind our cops and our good people, and this will go away quickly. But if we just stand around and ask our enemy, this is why we got into World War II. We got into it too late, in my opinion. Too many Jews died. Too many innocent people were murdered. We don't want to be too late. You don't want to just go flying off the handle, but you don't want to be too late.
That's right.
So protect your rights, protect your neighbors' rights, stand with good people, and we'll get through this.
Okay, I agree. That was Scott, and we love when he's in the studio. I'm going to let him have that last word like that and leave it at that. I guess I'll add, thank you for being here. Subscribe. Make sure you email Patriots with an S, Fest 2020 to let me know that you're coming, or I'm going to be going through those emails here today, throughout tomorrow, getting back to you personally, getting back to hopefully each and every one of you. If you want to give anything we're actually going to be kicking off where you guys are going to be providing food. We're going to be selling these tickets, but if you want to give, the links are down below. We appreciate it. We're not twisting your arms. We've heavily demonetized here. It's all on us and all on you. Tons of you were giving until YouTube decided to take that away. At not your choice or mine, their choice. So we appreciate everything around that. Other than that, I'm out of here. Scott, we're going to talk a little more before he heads out. Thank you guys. Look for a show later on this evening, and I hope you enjoyed yourselves.
Be safe.
Keep fighting for your rights. Never give them up to idiots. Never get them back. It's really hard, right? Once you give something up. Give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
It's kind of like taxes. Once they got them, they ain't giving them back.
That's right. Create a new little,
In a couple of years, it'll only be on the books for a couple of years.
Yeah, and then we'll dismantle. Mm-hmm.
you.